Ladies and gentlemen, what is up, and welcome to today's video on Alliance Quest Season 4 mini-bosses. They're announced officially from Kabam yesterday, so we have all the information on kind of who's going to be rotating in and out across various maps. And I wanted to do today's video to discuss the mini-bosses and talk about potential counters, who's going to be a pain in the ass, which mini-bosses actually might be a little bit easier than their predecessors. And yeah, hopefully should be a pretty cool video today. So Alliance Quest Season 4 works a little bit differently to some of the predecessing Alliance Quest in terms of mini-bosses for maps 2, 3, 4, and 5. In the case that there are 3 mini-bosses that every round of Alliance Quest are kind of going to rotate onto the next one, whereas previously, like, the mini-boss has always been the same consistently every week. Like map 5, it has always been Cyclops. Map 4, it's always been Storm in the kind of previous season of Alliance Quest. So now, if you're a boss killer in Alliance Quest Season 4, and if you're on map 2 to 5, it means you need to be really good at fighting, you know, potentially 4 different bosses across kind of a 3-week time span instead of just mastering fighting 2. And especially on map 5, these new mini-bosses are a bit of a pain in the ass. At least a couple of them are. So it's going to be a fun challenge for boss killers to get a little bit better at the game and hopefully learn how to deal with some of these mini-bosses, but we're also going to talk about champions that are going to be high value for dealing with their various abilities and mechanics. So anyway, let's cover it all, starting from map 1. So map 1, the mini-boss is always going to be Luke Cage. Really easy to fight. Map 1, you've got an easy time there. Very, very easy time. Map 2, you have Iron Fist, Hulkbuster, and Black Panther Classic. With all of these characters, just bait the level 1 and win. Very, very easy to do just by outranging it. So, some very nice kind of easy bosses for both Map 1 and Map 2. Map 3, I think, is where the Ball Lake, it starts to kick in a little bit. So you have Black Widow, who's sometimes a little bit annoying with her defensive ability accuracy reduction. Means that you cannot parry, so that's a little bit annoying sometimes there. But for the most part, Black Widow, you evade her specials, you win the game. I think the most annoying map 3 boss by far is going to be Agent Venom. He's a massive pain in the ass with his shrug-off ability. And then finally you have Colossus, who is just a huge face roll. So yeah, really easy time when it comes to Colossus in map 3. So he's gonna be the chill week, the good time. And then on map 4, you have Quake, you have Dr. Voodoo, and you have Howard the Duck. I think both Quake and Dr. Voodoo, I think they're quite easy to fight. Like Quake, actually, one of the things with Dr. Voodoo, let's actually talk about Quake first. So Quake is just going to be like, never let her charge a heavy attack, don't be blocking for too long, and just bait the special 1 and 2. The special 1 you can easily bait by sliding backward, and the special 2 you just have to outrange that. So I don't think Quake as a boss, she isn't going to be too much of a pain in the ass. Dr. Voodoo, however, if he's like really jacked up, he might have some crazy regeneration at the start of the fight, especially if he is like a node boosting his regeneration. So it might be a bit of an endurance test with Dr. Voodoo. Might be a little bit of a pain in the ass for map 4 goers. But at the moment in the current, if you know it's the current setup, I don't imagine too many people to be running map 4. Same situation potentially with Howard the Duck, where you know he has his regeneration at, I believe it's 50. It might be actually 60% and 30% potential chance to trigger if there's some sort of node boosting that might be a bit of a ball lake, but you can quite easily evade how the Duck's special 1. Same with Dr. Voodoo, just outrange that. So yeah, it isn't too much of a problem fighting any of those characters in terms of their animations. It's just the regeneration might be a little bit annoying and might require you to have, you know, a few people that can hopefully take down Dr. Voodoo or Howard the Duck in a single try, which I don't think it's not too taxing to do that. You just gotta have some decent champions for that. And then we move on to map 5. So this is what probably most people are going to be running, like map 3 or map 5. And map 5, you have a collection of massive pain in the ass bosses. You have Cable. If there's an increased regeneration node, again, you might have a similar problem to Dr. Voodoo or Howard the Duck, or he's going to regen quite a bit. But you can fully evade his special 1 and his special 2, so that's a very good thing about Cable there. I recently learned how to evade his special 1 thanks to a couple of subscriber emails, but his special 2, it's pretty easy to deal with. But Cable, you do not want to use any bleed champions against. I think for a lot of people like Star-Lord or Captain America, are just going to be such great boss killers in Alliance Quest for Season 4 in particular, especially with Dormammu as well. So Cable, you got the potential of pain in the ass regeneration there, but he shouldn't be too bad. And then you've got Rhino. Rhino's all about if you can like stay in close quarters and just bait those special attacks and heavy attacks and just kind of get you in there. With Rhino, you're never going to win an intercept, and he's a little bit tricky when you first fight Rhino, so it's good to get that practice in on Rhino. But once you get really good at fighting Rhino, he's pretty easy. I think I would personally, I think in Alliance, I'd rather fight a Rhino than a Cyclops, especially if this Rhino does have power gain, because then he's just going to be really easy to deal with. But I'm interested to see what kind of nodes they check on Rhino. Should be a fairly interesting one to check out. And then finally, I think this is going to be the biggest pain in the ass by far, and that is Mordo. Mordo is such a crazy, annoying character to fight. But I think some champions like Quake, Captain America World War II, when you get really good at those, you'll be able to take him out a single kill. Star-Lord, if you can play very well, is going to be an amazing option there. But Drax is going to have some value there, boys. For all you really lazy Mordo killers, just use Drax and just completely ignore his astral evade mechanic. So yeah, that's potential, you know, resurrection for Drax there in Season 4 of Alliance Quest. So I'm very interested to see kind of how that pans out. And then finally we have map 6, which I'm pretty happy to see, because in the last season I hate fighting Spider-Man so much in Alliance Quest. Like, he sucks so bad, so we've got Hyperion instead, who can be a little bit of a ball ache, especially with his power gain. You can sometimes take a special free, but any scenario, if I'm like at a crossroads and there is a stacked Spider-Man, there's a stacked Hyperion, every single time I'm taking that Hyperion path, like, no doubt. Like, a lot of characters like Ghost Rider, who I commonly use in map 6, like Dr. Voodoo, Scarlet Witch, Magic, they just have such great matchups against Hyperion, so I think they're going to be really decent options for kind of boss killing in Season 4 of Alliance Quest. So overall, like, I'm really glad that none of the mini bosses are Iceman. I was really worried that we're going to see Iceman as a mini boss on map 5, and I'm just so grateful not to see that character introduced into this season of Alliance Quest. So that's some really good stuff there. So while some of this stuff I think seems like a little bit intimidating just to read, I'm very interested to see kind of the practicality of some of the bosses, what nodes they have to accompany them. I mean, Mordo might be a little bit of an asshole if he is on a power gain node, especially if that synergizes with his power gain ability. Like, that might be a little bit of a ball ache, but there are some champions, maybe like Magic or Dr. Voodoo, that can help deal with that a little bit. So yeah, I guess it's just a case of, you know, see what bosses come around, see what their nodes are. I'm sure we're going to be breaking that down in quite a bit of detail and kind of going over some effective strategies to deal with the bosses when they come to Alliance Quest and their various nodes and stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am now interested to see what you think of the Alliance Quest Season 4 bosses. You a little bit nervous for some of them? What champions do you think are kind of going to be the most effective all-around boss killers? Kind of my money for the next season is on, like, Quake, it's on Captain America and Star-Lord. I think by far they're going to be the most consistent MVPs on a week-to-week basis, because they can deal with like Cable, Rhino, Mordo, and Dormammu, especially when we're looking at map 5 pretty consistently. And for the most part, I think that's what the majority of the community is running at the moment. But yeah, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, which map are you running? Which characters are you going to be whipping out for various bosses? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to leave a like. Apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.